Hello everyone, welcome to the family work. Lincoln's got a lot of schoolwork to do this week, so he asked me to help him out making a video. So today, I'm going to talk about something I see a lot, get a lot of questions about from other campground owners and people in the homesteading or firewood community, is equipment. What equipment should you have? What equipment do you use? What brand should I purchase? Do I buy new? Do I buy used? We've learned a lot, made some good decisions and made some bad decisions along the way. So I'm not here to tell you necessarily what you should do or what you should purchase. I'm just going to give you a testimony of what we've done, what works for us, and what we've learned along the way. When we bought the campground, we inherited a Kubota 50 horsepower tractor. It was two-wheel drive, which I did not appreciate. It had a front end loader on it, and it also had a backhoe attachment. A lot of people try to use a tractor for everything, and what I found out is it's good at a lot of stuff, but it's not great at one particular thing. For us, we spread a lot of aggregate, and trying to pick up stone or dirt in the bucket, it was never really effective for us. We would dig holes with the tires while trying to pick it up. But the nice thing is, once you did have a full load, you could quickly drive around the campground to get to your destination, although you would spill some along the way. And then the backhoe, we did not really use that much. The problem with the backhoe was it was hard to get set up in place. If you were in a wide open area, it wasn't too bad, but if you had trees or other obstacles in the way, it made it a lot more difficult to maneuver. Sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed. Alright, so I'm dropping the bucket here. We got to move a camper this morning, so we have a couple attachments we picked up. Over there's a land plane. That's a tree or post puller. My bucket. We just got that chipper. Haven't used it yet. Got some tree work to do here in a bit. This is for our 2-inch receiver. We got a frame over there. We're going to put a fifth wheel hitch on for moving fifth wheels. There's our dozer. And then we got a couple other hydraulic attachments over in storage. My problem is now I got all these cool attachments. I don't have anywhere to store them out of the elements. So I'm going to pause here for a second while I get this hooked up. Alright, so, not to get ahead of myself, but man, I love this automatic quick attach, not having to get out of the cab on these cold days, especially when you're working in snow. Alright, so we're going to go move a camper. Back to what I was saying, we inherited a Kubota. It was about 15, 20 years old. I don't know, it wasn't too bad shape. It didn't have many high hours. They were the original owners. It worked for us. It just wasn't the best for what we needed. We didn't use it to do any mowing. We had a post hole attached auger for the third 3-point receiver on it. But about after our first or second year, we bought a small used skid steer, and that made spreading gravel and digging and doing that type of stuff a lot easier. It didn't have hydraulics set up on it, and because it was used, it had some unknown issues always. The reliability of it wasn't great. We actually ended up putting a brand new engine into it, and after that and some other experiences, the boss said no more used equipment. If we're going to buy anything else, it's going to be new with a warranty. Because it just seemed like every day we would go out to use a piece of equipment, there would be a problem with it or just be more money, and you never knew how much more money was it going to be. It was just almost like a money pit. It's just more money after more money, repair bill after repair bill, or time spent me trying to do it myself. So anyways, we had a Kubota, we had the tractor, we had a skid steer, and then a couple years ago we started working on our sewage project. We had a little walk behind trencher we picked up. And I thought if we got a 4-wheel, big 5-foot, 6-foot trencher, we could use that because we're only putting 4-inch pipes, so we didn't need a huge trench. I thought that would be the best route to go. So we rented a trencher that size, and man, after using it for a weekend, just with the type of ground and stuff we had, it was not what we needed. So we have a friend that's a farmer. He had a new John Deere 35G excavator. He brought that over. We paid him to do some trenching for us, and I realized that's the route we needed to go. And so we looked at leasing, we looked at renting a mini excavator to help us with our sewer project, because it was going to be a big investment. And we ultimately decided, yeah, we're going to buy new, we're going to buy a small one. We got the second smallest one size you could get, because we really didn't do much else, or so I thought, around the campground. It would have been nice to have a hydraulic thumb and enclosed cab, but again, money was a huge factor for us. The other nice thing about having a smaller excavator was it could take a 9-inch bucket instead of a 12-inch bucket, which for us doing these sewer lines, it was going to be less material moved, less we have to move back. Or smaller projects, it's not really that big a deal, but you're talking a couple miles of sewer lines, it adds up in our opinion. But again, biggest factor for us was the money. So we went with the Bobcat E20, it's an open cab. We really didn't have a preference on the manufacturer. We started researching and looking at all of them. We had 2 John Deere dealers closest to us. We contacted them, and next distance-wise was Kubota. We reached out to Caterpillar, they were the furthest away, and then we also contacted Bobcat. Most of them pretty much had 0% financing, which was attractive for us. We could have paid cash, and there was a small rebate for doing so, but the big picture, 0% for us was the way to go. However, when we didn't have a pickup truck at the time, our trailer wasn't big enough to haul equipment. So our first question to all the dealers was, okay, if we buy this new piece of equipment and if there's an issue, 50 hours down the road, how do we get it to you? And all of them said, well, we can come pick it up for you for a charge of course. And then they would have to charge us, to bring it back. And if it wasn't a warranty issue for whatever reason, then we would be responsible for that cost as well. Until we got a hold of Bobcat. And even though they were the second furthest away dealer from us, they said, no, we would send a tech out to you to take a look at it. Of course, if it's a warranty issue, no cost for that. We would bring out the truck and the trailer and pick it up, bring it to the shop, work on it, bring it back to you, all at no cost. And that was very attractive to us because that was a huge concern, because even with new equipment, stuff still goes wrong. So we liked that. And then to top it off, I said, well, I'm not really sure if I want an E26 with a cab or if I want to save a little money and go with the E20. And so the salesman offered to bring us both. He brought us out an E20 to let us demo it. We had it for a week. We used it, and it was cold and snowy, but it worked. It wasn't that bad, really, with the open cab, and it was great for what we were doing. It has like a 7-foot reach, which is more than what we needed it for. So I was sold. Because mainly their customer service, if for no other reason. All the prices between manufacturers were all comparable. Warranties were all comparable. But we bought it. I went ahead and wrapped in the pricing. The 50-hour and I think it was a 200-hour maintenance. They included all the fluids and fittings and everything, filters and all that for us. And because our idea was, hey, this sewer project is going to take us 2 to 3 years. We'll use this get all the sewer lines in, and then we'll sell it. It'll be a great machine. It'll only have a couple hundred hours on it. And for whatever we lose on it, it would still be cheaper than leasing or renting one every weekend. The problem with renting one is we have a couple of rental yards closer to us we could go rent from. Again, I got to have a trailer, got to have a truck, something to pull it with. And then you're scrambling around all weekend trying to get it done if you get bad weather. Sometimes you do a bunch of trenching, and then while you have the machine, and then you get a rain or snow, and you already returned the piece of equipment, and now your trenches are all a mess. So purchasing was awesome. And now that we have it, man, I can't tell you how much I use this machine. Even though we had the backhoe and the Kubota, night and day difference. We don't use any attachments for it. We didn't get an auger or anything. Mainly just moving dirt for us, and it's been perfect. We've really appreciated it. And then fast forward another year or two, getting tired of our skid steer and our tractor, we started looking at the Toolcat, and we thought, well, man, that could move dirt, take all the skid steer attachments that we wanted to get. It's fast. We got 50 acres, so it could drive through the campground, moving stuff around. That was the problem with the skid steer, is it would take forever driving from one side of the property to the other side with a load of gravel or dirt. We could put a mower on it. We'll do another video here what we use to maintain the grounds, but we just liked all the flexibility it offered. But for $60,000, we wanted to make sure it's what we needed. So we reached out to Bobcat. They brought one over for us, let us demo it for a couple days, and it was kind of like a tractor. It could do a lot, but it wasn't necessarily great at the things that we were doing. So I asked them to bring over the track steer, and because I never used one before, ours was a wheeled machine. So they brought over, I think it was a 550 or 590, whatever they had on the lot, and when they picked up the Toolcat, they dropped that off, and man, I was in love. That thing, it could go 11 miles an hour, which honestly, any faster driving through the campground, carrying stuff, we wouldn't do. So speed wasn't an issue. It could be as fast as our tractor, and it was just nice because it gets so wet here in the fall and in the spring, and to be able to have the tracks and not tearing up the ground. It's a little dirty now. We were doing some snow work this week, but we knew the track steer was the way to go. Unfortunately, if you price them out, they're not cheap. So we debated on what to do. We sold our Kubota. We sold our skid steer. We did 0%. We wanted to get the new R series. I forget the numbers on them. But Bobcat, they're just coming out with a new line. But because of the pandemic this year, they were delayed. And we had a wood processor. We did about, and this is only a portion of it, we did about 20 or 30 cord this summer. And I really wanted to have a grapple to load all the logs onto the processor. So, and I didn't want to spend money on renting one when I knew we were going to buy one. So even though the 550 was still in production, they had one on the lot, and there was a couple extra incentives to make it worth purchasing now. We saved, I don't know, $5,000 to $10,000 versus waiting till who knows when the new R model was ready. And we did like the R. We sat in the one they had on the lot, the demo, and we did like it better. But again, pricing and timing for us made the difference. But we've used this guy. We've already got almost 100 hours on it this year in 6 months. It's been great. We use it for everything. Now we got a lot of attachments for it. That's why we chose Bobcat. It came down to service. Time and time again. We did have an issue with this, with the glow plugs when the weather turned cool. It turned out to be a software upgrade. And they came right out 2 or 3 times to make sure it was working for us, which we appreciated. So I can't speak enough to the service we received from Bobcat. I have nothing bad to say about the Kubotas or John Deeres or the Caterpillars. It's just we were making between the two $100,000 investment. We wanted to make sure we had somebody that was going to be there for us when we needed them to be able to come get the equipment and to service it. So we did the same thing. We wrapped in the first couple services in the skid steer. It's just one less thing for us to have to worry about. But I tell you, if I had to do it all over again, a track steer and a mini excavator is the way to go. I would not get a tractor. We had trencher, we had a wheel skid steer, just for us, these two pieces of equipment. I wish we could have done this years ago. I wish we would have had the money, but it just wasn't possible. It took us a while to get to this point, and man, we're glad, we're blessed that we are here now. So that's how we chose on these two pieces of equipment that met our needs. We have other stuff. We have a stand-up lawnmower we use. We got a Cherokee beach cleaner we use for our beach. We got a John Deere we inherited for helping us mow as well, a riding lawnmower. A couple other things, but these two pieces of equipment, man, these are the tools that we use every day. So thanks for watching. Sorry, I know this was a lot longer, and Lincoln likes to keep them short. I talk a lot, so that's why he does these and not me. Hope everybody has a great week.